Hey people, Duncan here. First and foremost, go out, like my channel and subscribe to it, guys. It's a great channel. I cover all kinds of topics, some very controversial, but it's a great channel. Check it out. Today I want to talk about influences in America. I want to talk about how America became what we are and who's influenced it and subverted us into America as we know it. So first, I believe the story starts before America. It starts with this group of individuals that were hunted down by essentially the church. These individuals were once knights. They once were respected as warriors for, let's just say, warriors for Christ. Yet they got ostracized by the church. They got outlawed and were sentenced to death. Many of them fled. They fled all over the country. They went all over the world. They went into hiding. Many of them were killed, slaughtered, assassinated, and some of them were rumored to actually have made it to the England/British areas. And they had an idea of a country where they were allowed to practice their religion freely. Now, they heard that the Crown, the British, was sending the American colonies, these people that were considered somewhat lower class citizens inside England. So these people were sent to America, and it was a matter of time before these colonies wanted their independence. Well, they knew that they couldn't do it with just the church. They knew that they had to make friends in certain areas. So let's say that the first thing they did is contacted England's most hated enemy, the French, and they built an allegiance with them. And let's say that during that same allegiance they may have met some friends. So let's show you for a second. First, you got these Templar. Okay, they show up here. The next, these Templar are hunted down. They change their names. They become America's Freemasons. Okay, now these Freemasons, they cannot hold this country by just the word of God. So they have to make arrangements, make friends. They have to find some kind of financial stability, foundation for the country. So they go off, they talk to bankers and trade companies all over the world, one of which is these Zionist trade companies, mostly known for their slave trades. And as you can see, they would take the slaves from places like Africa, and the Zions owned all the boats. So all these boats that were sent off to different places all over the world, essentially even America up here, okay, these were all done by Zionist boats. Now, this slave trade actually helped make America its sovereign nation. It was one of the very first things that we used as a product. We made a lot of money off the slave trade. It was just one of our very first things we did here. Now when you think about this and talk about how long is this going to last? Well, it lasted until the Civil War ended and slavery was abolished. And suddenly there's no need for Zionist slave trades or boats or anything. Well, as you can imagine, it's probably not going to make the rich business happy that a lot of their chief income was ripped apart by the word of the people. So what they do is they start creating these institutions, these, let's just say, skull and bones. And if you look right here, here's President Bush right there. That's President Bush Sr. So these skull and bones, these secret societies, they start grooming people into the next business owners, the next railroad tycoons, the next, big money, deep state individuals. They start grooming these people into all kinds of different businesses and jobs all over this country. And that's the generation that's going to inherit all the wealth in the country. But by the 1920s and 30s, this group of individuals, they were infiltrated. They were infiltrated by the beginning of the communist subversion. Okay, this is the Red Scare. Essentially, by 1945, the communists started subverting every school, every college. They were teaching the American youth that communism was okay, that communism was the way to go. So many of these young society members and college students were subverted into this communist belief. It led to a senator, I believe a senator named McCarthy, to create laws preventing communism from actually happening in America. Well, these laws were later repealed, and essentially communism and the Socialistic Party in America was created. During the same time, though, the Lawyers Guild was created. Now think about this. If you're the deep state, you've raising your kids in big business, big money, and most of these kids are subverted in the communists who run the Lawyers Guild, suddenly you have the church, you have the businesses, secret societies, and lawyers guilds all working together. So let's just say by the 1950s and 60s, we had a warning from JFK, who warned us about all of this. He gave us a warning. We are as a people inherently and historically opposed to the societies. Oh, I messed that up. To the secret societies and okay, but you see what I'm saying? He gave us this warning. Next thing you know, that famous day happens. He's assassinated. Is there some kind of link between him warning America about all these subversions and societies, these secret groups looking to destroy America, and his assassination? Probably. So then Vietnam happens. And these are the images that we see on every TV that was put inside almost every home by the businesses that manufactured and pumped TVs into every home. They saw these images of injured, shot, dead soldiers. It led to riots talking about peace and stop the war, stop the violence. And then when you think about the fact that this led to many politics in the country. The Vietnam War was the press was used heavily to subvert the American voters into things like woman's choice and many other politics in America. And then when you think about the end of the Vietnam War, and you think about the 70s still, the 70s marked the beginning of the cocaine era. This is when the government thought it would be okay to start allowing illegal immigration, to start allowing things like cocaine to flood into our country, and it led to an overwhelming problem, which by the 80s we all know the Just Say No war on drugs by the Bushes or the Reagans. Okay, now. What happens here? Well, you got cocaine, you got war on drugs, and then you got immigration, illegal immigration. Okay, you got all this stuff flooding in your country, but it's not over yet. By the 90s, you got Clinton and his famous yes on NAFTA. Okay, here he is, nice picture of him standing in front of a big yes on NAFTA sign. Okay, this essentially means that any products that a foreign country makes can now pass through America without being charged. So no longer will we be able to make money off of imports and going through America. Now, why is this important? Well, because later, all of our jobs were already sent to Mexico and sent to Japan. So the problem is not only did we have jobs were gone. So without jobs, there was no money. And then what we were relying on was the income from the exports and imports. Yet here comes Bill Clinton and makes NAFTA, North America Free Trade Act, which means we no longer make any money off of that. So with the broke nation being subverted by communists, illegals, drugs, societies, and all of that. Clinton signs this bill, but then now look at this. We all remember this day. This is the day that the war on terror starts. This is the day Junior takes us to war and starts what I call the Islamic subversion. This is where we began the need for Obama's refugees. Okay? And here's Obama's refugees. No democracy. We want just Islam. And that is Obama's refugees. These were the people that were brought here by the Obama administration that were so-called refugees, and now they don't want democracy. They just want Islam. So remember that for a minute. Now, we all outraged. We all had a problem with this, which is why this man became president. Okay? And he ended all of this Islamic, he started the travel ban, he does all of this, he's bringing back the security of this nation, yada, yada, yada. But then he did something that was a little weird to me. He declared Jerusalem the capital. Why is this weird? Well, because Jerusalem has been a place of war for a long time. Its population has a vast group of Zionists. Now, we all know from history that wherever we have war, we have things like this that creates a need for a refugee program. So my question is, by committing to the Jewish, or the Israel capital of Jerusalem, did we just create a need, or did we just create a Zionist subversion? Because, you know, if you look at right here, this is out of Ariel Sharon's own words, October 3rd, 2001. I want to tell you something very clear. Don't worry about American pressure on Israel. We, the Jewish people, control America. And the Americans know it. Okay, this is what he said. So this is the same person that Trump just helped by making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. Jerusalem is also a 95% population of Zionists. So if a war breaks out in Jerusalem and there's a need for refugees, how many Zionists are coming back to America? How many Zionists who were originally part of the slave trade in this country are coming back to America? Is it the homecoming? Is it the final chapter in what's left of the American takeover? That's my question. Do you have any answers? I'd love to hear them. Please subscribe, like, and comment. It's a great channel, guys. I cover lots of things. I enjoy talking to you guys. Have a great day, and peace. Duncan out.